Mike, I know the players are just reporting. Is there any update at all on Jovan or Freddie yet?
They're just reporting now, actually, as I've come in, so they're starting to come into the building. Jovan's struggling, groin, so he'll miss tomorrow. We'll see how that goes over the next couple of weeks. Freddie, we're still waiting for the medical team to report on him. We've got a few knocks coming in the building, so there's a few tired legs, a few bodies, so we've just got to look at that before we go into tomorrow.
Yeah, important though, you try and get a result tomorrow, isn't it, to keep in the competition?
Yeah, we wanted to win the last game, but it's important that we get a result because we want to stay in the competition. It's important that we win the game. I think we have to win the game. It's also important to get the balance right with the bodies and people making sure we don't get injuries. So the balance for me is to get it right, but we've got good depth and we've got players that have been chomping at the bit to try and show what they can do. So I think you'll see changes, but there'll be more than enough on the pitch for me to try and win this and get through and get the 3 points in this competition.
When you came in pre-season to BBC Radio Lancashire, you was talking about the squad depth, and we've talked a lot about it on the radio since. Does this competition, is it easier to deal with this year in the fact that you've got more players to be able to play?
Yeah, I think so. But also, you want to be in this competition. You also want to be in it because you want the squad to have more opportunities to play in the competition. So I think it's like a bit of a chicken and egg. You want depth to deal with the competition, and you also want to be in the competition so that you can give more game time, if you like, to certain players. But I think it definitely, when you have depth in the squad, it's definitely easier to deal with, and you don't have to risk so many players, and hopefully you can freshen legs up. And we've got an international break coming up, so it's not a case of freshening, but you have to be aware that we've been on 3 games in the last week, and some of them done really high meters and high sprints, and how we deal with that. But it's more about the knocks, really. It's more about who's took knocks. Jovan and Freddie and a couple of other players in there that have took some knocks coming off the pitch on Saturday.
Ethan Hamilton made his return on Saturday. Is he ready to start yet, or is it one of those you're going to manage?
Yeah, he could be into contention for starting. He got through the minutes, which was great. If he starts, he won't play the whole game though. He's still building up match minutes. He had a few jelly legs on Saturday when he came on, but he's definitely there to start. But you're not going to see 90 out of him in this one, even if he starts. So yeah, he's good to go, and he came through it well. He came through it for the first 20, but he's trained well. He's looked good, but games are different. Games are different from training. You saw that at the weekend in the intensity of the game.
It's good though to have that quality back involved again, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's Hamo, there's Rico close as well. Could be into contention for tomorrow. So all of a sudden our depth gets even more. So it's trying to keep that, but also, like you say, trying to put a team on the pitch that can win the game. That's the most important thing for tomorrow. With the balance of bringing people back, getting people minutes, but also knowing that we want to go through in the competition. We want to do well in this competition, and we haven't with the last game. We didn't do enough to win it, even though we started the first half really well. We didn't come out with the points, and we need to do that tomorrow.
And Rob Street hasn't been involved as of late. I imagine with the striking issues, he'll be in your squad tomorrow. What does he need to do to get himself back involved on a match day in the league? Yeah,
Rob. Rob's got great character, and he's been training so well. And I've got a lot of time for players and people and players like Rob, particularly, who every day train really hard. He's not injured. He's trying his best, and he's improving all the time. He did come off of the back of a massive injury last year, so we can't forget that. And he was at a club where, let's be honest, he'd done most of his rehab on his own. So it's really important for Rob to get up to speed, because he's new in the building, tactically getting up to speed. And ultimately, it's been a decision for me, like, not to carry so many strikers on the bench. You can only have 7, subs. A bit like Lewis Monsima, like, I don't want to carry another centre half on the bench when you don't need to. We want the legs. So he's been probably missing out, unfortunately, through tactical decisions and squad depth for the games, not necessarily through what he's doing in training or what he's showing. So he's one of those that's eager to impress, eager to get minutes, eager to push the lads. So, and the lads know that. Jovan, Freddie, Bailey, Housley, they know he's waiting in the wings, and he trains hard every day. Every day he trains hard and pushes the lads, and hopefully he gets opportunity tomorrow and he can show what he can do.
And we see it up and down the country at all different clubs, don't we? It just needs a moment sometimes to spark their career at that club, and tomorrow could be that chance. Yeah,
and I think with Rob and JJ and those types of players, we put them on long contracts. They're not here for tomorrow. They're not here for suddenly to hit the ground running. We thought it'd take a bit of time in how we want to play, them progressing, them improving, them taking ownership of what they've got to do to get into the squad and the team. And it takes longer than that to develop. We've seen that over the years through some other players. You saw how long it's, Sean's a big player for us now, but he didn't start off like that, did he? Same with Jovan, who's had a great weekend. I thought he was magnificent at the weekend. I think with the younger type players, they generally take a bit longer to come in, whereas you see the older players that we've been like Tendai, been around the block, he knows what he's got to do, he's got so much experience. They hit the ground running a bit quicker for me. And Rob's one of them. I think it'd be a slow burner to start, but he wants to be leading the line as a number 9 in this club, and ultimately the way I see it is he's got a few years to do that, but we've got to get him to speed quickly.
Grimsby didn't have a great result of the weekend, but they've started off okay. What are you expecting from them?
I think they've started well. They like to dominate the ball, they like to play, they're quite man-for-man orientated in their press, and they can be quite aggressive in the press, so I think it's going to be a tough game. I think any time we play teams like Grimsby, like Harrogate, like Chesterfield, they're a tough game, and it's really hard to plan for because you don't know what they're going to do, and conversely, they don't know what we're going to do. So in this competition, it can be really difficult to plan for, whereas with the league, you pretty much know, bar injuries and how teams are playing, and I wouldn't say it's easier to plan for, but it's definitely, you can have a line of sight of what's been going on for a few games. It's going to be a tough game. We're going to have to be on it. It's going to be really physical. I know it's important. We know it's important to the fans, and probably the local derby, even though it's not in the league. But we know it's an important game. But more than anything, it's important to try and get through this competition to give us more games and keep us going in it. And ultimately, this competition ends at Wembley, and I think that's really important to everybody in the building.